Welcome to the Aesthetics Injector Gang podcast. Having a gang of mentors in this industry has been a blessing that we wanted to share with you. Our core group has been traveling together and comparing notes about life and business for years. Tune in as we delve into topics with others in the industry that you are sure to love and make you laugh.
Hey guys, thank you for joining us for yet another episode of the Aesthetics Injector podcast. I am your sunny St. Pete injector, Valerie, down in Florida. I am joined with Ashleigh Strother today. She's part of the gang. She's been with us since the beginning, and I just recently went out to visit her. She is our Idaho girl, so she is the West Coast cutie that we have to really fight to be able to see. Flights from the East Coast to the West Coast are insane. If you've ever flown it, it's like a 5-hour flight. I don't want to say it's miserable because it's not, but it's a long trip. So we happen to be going out there skiing this year. And I said, you know what? I am going to make some time to go down to see the LCV Beauty. And we made it happen. And
yes, we did. Fun. Hi,
even
guys.
though it was very short-lived, I was exceptionally happy we did it. Ashleigh showed me all over town. Her and her husband are like the mayor and mayoress of their area. So welcome back, Ashleigh. What are we talking about today? What's going on since I've seen you?
Oh my goodness. Hi, Miss Val. I miss you. It is hard to get the gang out to the West Coast. I live in a really small town. It is a hop, skip, and a jump away. But I promise I always make it worth it for you guys. So
love it.
It was so fun. Gosh, what has happened? What did I even have for dinner last night? Gosh.
Also, Ashleigh, I just want everybody to know, Ashleigh did cook me dinner when I got there. I had fresh sourdough bread, beautiful, like I'm sure grass-fed steak. Her children were absolute dolls. I asked Ashleigh, so I love the corny stuff you find at the airports. And I was like, can I bring your kids chocolate or candy? And I always ask all parents, it's not just her, but like, I don't want to sugar people's kids up if they're trying not to give them sugar. It's a thing. And so she's like, yes, you can bring them something. I was like, well, who doesn't want a novelty chocolate alligator from the airport? And
I mean, you did have me at chocolate alligator. I thought that was pretty cool.
There's nothing you can do. So I bought them like this big tin of like mini chocolate alligators, and I'm sure they've only had a few of them since I left, but they're the cutest kids, super sweet. Yeah. We all had dinner together and it was just great. I loved every minute of it. Ashleigh has a beautiful home, beautiful town that she lives in. And I got to see her studio.
Yes.
I've been oogling her wellness thing. So tell everybody, I guess, because I think a lot of people are moving into wellness. Like, tell me why wellness, and like tell me how you incorporated that room and like what you wanted it to be, because it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, long story short, I've never really been super into nutrition, and when I met my husband and we were getting ready to get married 15 years ago, he went kind of paleo and carnivore and all the things, and he honestly took a big dive into learning about wellness first, and it's just kind of rubbed off on me over the last decade. And then we started cold plunging and hot sauning and going to these spas that kind of offer those services. And as we're getting older, we're noticing changes in our bodies and in our joints. And, you sleep on the wrong pillow and your neck hurts for 3 months. So just the importance of how we're fueling our bodies and how we're caring and recovering our bodies has become not only a forefront in our everyday life, but I think many. And so I thought, what could I bring into the clinic that, so many people have a stigma against injectables or they just don't want them. It's it's not organic or, this, that, and the other. Everyone has their own anti-aging journey, but a lot of people's journey is supplementation and things like red light therapy and cold plunging and hot sauna. So it's hard to bring that all into your house sometimes, or sometimes it's just nice to have someone else deal with the maintenance of that all. So we brought in just that, a large wellness room that fits up to 4 to 5 people at a time. So they can come in and use the space for up to half an hour, 60-minute sessions, or even more if they wanted. And we have different cycles based on what they're in there for. So if you're in there for recovery, muscle recovery, we're going to do hot sauna for 20 minutes, and then we're going to cold plunge for 5, and then we're going to sit in the red light for 5, and then maybe you want to repeat that cycle, but just different ways to look at taking care of the body and having it easily accessible.
I absolutely, when I saw your room, I was like, I'm just absolutely in love with it. It is gorgeous inside, and it also just has like that relaxation vibe to it.
Yeah.
It's so well done. It's so thought out. I loved seeing it. And, of course, like I've been trying to incorporate as much as I can of the red light therapy. I just bought the full body one, like I told you, which is very similar to yours. I just don't like the stand mine is on, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think because you guys do the methylene blue now too. You do the methylene blue drops.
I have them at my house. I will say they're pretty powerful, and I've tried them once. I need to use them more.
Yeah. I do like forewarn people, like when they're like, make sure you do your research on these things before.
Yeah.
Someone in the gang was talking about, was it you that somebody had overdosed on it, ended up in the hospital?
No, but
was talking about it.
No, but my husband's taken it. And I think he's taken too much, and it's made him feel really crummy. So some of these things you do, like you said, you have to do your research on. And, wellness has become such a fad, especially, I know we were just talking about weight loss before we got on. So the tirzepatide, semaglutide shortages and how people do that really unsafely in our industry, and finding a provider that really is thinking about you and not the money or the bottom line, and making sure they're giving you the counsel and the guidance to do it safely and effectively. If you're taking that medication and they're giving you higher and higher doses and you want more and more and more, that's more medication you have to taper off of. And that is going to give you, in my opinion, a less chance of keeping it off, a lower success rate, because you're depending too much on a medication to lose that weight versus it just helping guide you to make smarter decisions. And so the weight loss is a whole different topic we could go into, but
well, everybody's kind of, I was telling you before we got on here that my patients are kind of in this panic right now about like, well, what's happening with compounding? And I basically have told a lot of people, I have not been issued a ceasefire. I haven't been issued a letter from my pharmacy at this point. So I know my pharmacy has said in the past, like if it is a off-label compounding dose and something that's not commercially available via the brand, that you can still legally request compounding of that medication. Of course, check with your state guidelines and the federal regulations. But, if you're with a legit compounding company, they should be looking into all this, and they should have the right answer for you as far as what's going on. And if Big Pharma does not want you compounding it, they will probably find a way for that to make that happen. I know there's a lot of regulation change, and I've heard whispers of there being a lot of lobbying for Ozempic to be covered, which is manufactured by Novo Nordisk. And, they're really pushing to get that approved so that basically everybody can be on Ozempic. And I think, I've told you guys before, like I've been reading about these companies since 2017, 18, and, they were poised to be the top pharmaceuticals for weight loss in the country in 2025. And here we are.
Yeah.
So I think with insurance carriers accepting it, which I think that they should, I price and bundle mine a lot differently than most people. I charge per refill, not actually per month, because I really, I'm like you. I believe in the drug. It is a good drug. There's a lot of amazing research with peptides coming out in general. And I think they're here to stay. They're not going anywhere. And I do think, the weight loss drugs, the GLPs are going to be like the statins were in the 90s. Like everybody's going to be on it. Yeah. And I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily. I'm still really clinical, and I see just younger and younger people, especially our at-risk populations, on dialysis. Like I think I did 2 AV fistulas. I did anesthesia. I didn't do the fistulas, but I did anesthesia for 2 AV fistulas the other day, both under the age of 40.
Oh man.
Big deal.
Yep. And that goes back into like why wellness is important, because we're trying to, I feel like as a population, a lot of us are trying to figure out preventative measures instead of here's a medication to fix the damage that you've caused because now we're obese or we have kidney or liver failure. It's like, let's figure out how to live healthier and more of a preventative medicine outlook on things versus let's put another Band-Aid on it. Let's give you another medication. Like, no, let's just not get there in the first place.
Yeah. Pete, there's a good book. I'll have to find the exact name of it, but it's by Peter Attia. And a lot of people that are into functional medicine and preventative medicine, really, they know about him. Like if you're in that realm, most people do know about him. But he talks about the 4 horsemen, and it's Alzheimer's, diabetes, kidney failure, and heart disease. And I mean, like, those are gonna come for you if you're not taking care of yourself. I am guilty. I do not exercise right now. I am not taking the best care of myself, but I did go skiing and snowboarding. So I have some VO2 max left in me. I'm not living my best life right now, but he speaks a lot towards exercise being, one of the biggest preventative things that we can do for ourselves. I'll find the name of the book before.
Well, and especially as women with our we're just at higher risk for osteoporosis. And so lifting heavy weights for women is very indicative of our longevity. So it's super important. And even though you're not doing it now, you need to. So that's half the battle. Yeah. And I feel like it just ebbs and flows. You and I are both really busy building. You're still working, your full-time gig, and then you have your business you've built, like
melting into the ground.
You are. And sometimes, like, I do that too. I have lulls. I'm just overwhelmed in life, and that's okay. But knowing that these healthy habits are, your goal to get back to, and just knowing that you need that in your life is important. It's half the battle.
Well, we did the functional med course by New BioAge, and it was the Calm conference in Miami. I know you were going to try to come, but it's obviously like getting West Coast, East Coast is difficult. It's expensive. Yeah. And it was really refreshing to sit in the conference and just kind of listen to a lot of like very like the same minded people talking about these goals in healthcare. And, I believe in a fine line. There can be a nice balance that exists between our, our medical community now and functional medicine. Yeah. Do I think, I feel like I see people mismanaged a lot. And by mismanaged, I mean like over medicated. Yeah. And, I do a PTSD volunteer program out West, without revealing much details about their program. They're very holistic in their approach. And, I don't think, over medicating people with PTSD is the answer. I think there's a lot of reset that needs to happen safely, of course. And, the great part about their program is their data is starting to trend now. And we're seeing like 85% of the students are better. And I do say 85%, and that does account for like the fact that they have suicide amongst their group. Like veterans are a high risk population. There are some of the guys that actually commit suicide before they get there. These are very, very sick people. And, a lot of what they get when they go to the hospital or their provider is not what they need. It's a lot of pill pushing. And I'm not bashing providers for doing that. You do need an SSRI if you have an imbalance and there's a chemical imbalance in your head, but like this should be a temporary fix. I don't think people should be living on Xanax and SSRIs and using medical marijuana every single day of their life. Like this is an adjunct to help you get better mentally. So right. That's my long-winded take on that. But long story short, the Calm conference was great. Ashleigh informed me I need to start Ashleigh Carmen, not Ashleigh, informed me I need to start increasing my protein intake. She's like, well, you're eating lots of protein, right? And I was like, well, I eat meat. And she just looked at me. She's like 100 grams of protein a day, Val. And I was like maybe 30. And she's like,
it's bad.
Like,
I know.
Your skin's looking rough, girl. And I was like, I know. So I'm drinking a little bit more of it now. And my appetite's just changed since I've been on a GLP. Not for like worse, but like I feel better. I don't get gut bloat anymore. I'm pretty convinced in my conspiracy theory world that they've put something in our food, and this is truly a conspiracy theory in my own head, in my own making. There's something in our food blocking our natural GLPs. Oh. And I think there's something blocking it, and now we've been given the solution for it. That's my craziness for the day. There's no proof behind that statement whatsoever.
Well, they've got all this other stuff in our crazy theories. Not that far away from maybe having some logic to it.
Ashleigh and I are like, we believe in UFOs and abductions and stuff like that. So we are the crazy conspiracy theorists in the group.
Of the group. Of the gang.
I mean, I think there are other people that share those thoughts, but somebody's going to be listening to this like, oh, these guys are.
Yeah. I just always think where there's smoke, there's a little bit of fire, you know,
of course.
There's got to be some truth to something. If you,
listen, I take a GLP. I've been on one for 3 years now, but I sat there and thought the other day, I was like, why aren't we naturally secreting this the way that we should be secreting this? Because it should be happening. And then I was like, oh my God, the food.
Yep.
So that's just my nutso proposal right now.
But I also got yelled at this weekend for not having enough protein in my diet. And I know, again, it goes back to we're just ping pongs, you know, right now. And just grabbing things. Sometimes it's easier than I think we make it. But it's like, if there's one thing to go from your day, it's like not grabbing lunch or, you know, get it later. And then you get home at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and you're just starving. So then you just garbage dump everything you can get your hands on. And making food and protein intake is such a priority.
Yeah. I do a lot of fruit now, but even like the fruit I buy is like, I got a grape the other day and the grapes were like the size of my head. And I was like, well, this is they were super good though. I'm just going to say that.
I know.
Like, these probably are not very natural. I'm just,
well, it's like the Costco chickens. They're so good, right? But I don't know. Are they good for you? I don't know, but you're getting your protein.
Not really sure, but
ignorance.
I feel like, can you please post like your sourdough starter and your Ashleigh makes amazing sourdough bread.
Oh my gosh. I just had a bread lady come to my house. So I have a team of 12 at my office. And so I try to do something fun for them at least once a quarter. And we had this girl, she's called the Farm Style. She's actually one of those really fun. She's one of our local small town influencers that has just blown up. She's sponsored by like Foster Farms sometimes. Like she's got big brand partnerships and she just lives in this tiny town and her husband's a farmer. But anyway, she came to our Valentine's Day event last year. And so we hosted classes for the public. And then I was like, well, we were all working. We want to take this class. So she came to my house and hosted a sourdough class. Now, how that kind of cheats is that she gave us all a sourdough starter and our job was just to keep it alive. And so you can buy sourdough starters online. It does take a little bit of finessing to like learn how to keep it alive and the rising time and all that. But once you kind of get it down, it's really easy. Yeah. But I know Ashleigh, the other Ashleigh is always like, when I post my bread, I'm like, I've got to figure out a way to overnight it to you guys because you guys are always asking.
Oh my God. You whipped up like 3 different loaves when I was just sitting there. One we ate, one was probably for the kids, which had like pepperoni and seasoning.
Oh, that one was so good.
Yeah. I was like, I think I just need to move in with Ashleigh. I'll live in your basement.
Yeah.
You won't even know that I'm there. And then I could just be your nanny.
I love that for me. Do it.
I'll inject with you one day a week.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant.
It'd be perfect. So we had a great time. Oh, we went to the winery out there.
Yes.
Ashleigh was super upset. We have to delineate. Ashleigh is in Idaho. Ashleigh is in DC. We just want to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Yes.
We went to this beautiful winery. Ashleigh kept apologizing to me because she's like, I'm so sorry. It's gloomy. It's rainy. I was like, I literally don't care. This winery is like in this little small house. There's a food truck outside of it. They have great wine, great atmosphere. Who's the family that owns that? Remind me.
Yeah, like small town vibes. It's our nurse. It's our nurse and our future medical director's family vineyard. They own the whole entire hill, and it's just like, it's very nice. But small town, everyone knows everybody. So her family runs the one of the bigger wineries in town. Yeah.
Yeah, it was super nice. You're basically on the side of a mountain looking at the mountains.
It's gorgeous.
Ashleigh's like, you have to come back in the summertime, which I absolutely am going to. I don't know when. Yeah. Probably 2026.
I know.
It's okay though. It's all right.
We're going to make it.
So you've been doing some conferences recently as well. Tell me what you've loved, what you would do again.
Yeah. We just went to one in Scottsdale in November. I think it was called Med Pro. I think my gripe about conferences is it's a lot of the same information over and over again. Mm-hmm. And I think you get to a point in your aesthetic career where I always take something away from where I go, but I think you have to really figure out and hone in what you want to learn and if that conference will be beneficial to you. So, we talk about functional med conferences. I feel like a lot of us are starting to go to those because those are newer topics to us. Those are things that we're really getting more passionate about. We're super passionate about aesthetics, but we've been to all the big conferences and we go to them every year. It's reinventing the wheel a little bit every time we go. And, half of our gang is speaking at them. So, we get a lot of that knowledge. I really find a lot of benefit for like newer injectors, especially anytime you can get a one-on-one with someone that you aspire to be or has a wealth of knowledge. I think that's money better spent. But these big conferences, we always say go with a friend too, because they can be very overwhelming. So the next one I'm going to is in Salt Lake City in the fall, and it will be a functional med one. And then I'll try to probably tack on a one-on-one with a private aesthetic provider for me and my team while we're down there. But I think conferences are great if you need a lot of like a vague variety of things you want to learn about. I think it's a great thing. But we've been to so many. I feel like this is my year of kind of working on the business and being home. I know I traveled so much last year for me, and I have 3 little ones, so I don't like to be gone that much. But when you came here, a lot of my focus this year is community involvement. So we went to a bridal fair, just trying to connect with the community and discuss all these fun and upcoming topics that's in anti-aging and aesthetics. I think is really beneficial.
Well, when I first started, I was like consumed by the fact that I felt like I needed to be like doing all this expensive marketing, and I needed somebody to market for me because I didn't have time to do it. And I needed a website built, and I needed this done, and I needed that done. And I need someone to launch emails for me all the time and communications. And it just was, like I felt like that was the right thing to do. And I think as a solo provider, solo owner, solo whatever, it felt like it made sense at first. And the more I've been doing it, last year was just like my last, like I was paying a company like almost $7,000, good God, $700 a month, which is a lot of money when you're self-funded and, you're not borrowing money and it's coming out of your bank account.
Yeah.
And I wasn't seeing anything. Like I didn't have website traffic. I didn't even get SEO with it.
Yeah.
I was writing my own blogs and then trying to figure out how to optimize the SEO myself and learning interlinking and backlinking. And I basically was teaching myself how to do it while I was paying a company to do it.
Right.
So, and I think that 700 got me like my basic website and then an hour of maintenance every month. And I had all cold leads, no hot leads, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. At the end of the day, like the end of the year, I almost severed with a company in June, like mid-year, because by the time they had launched my website, they had my membership button linked to another business that wasn't in the state. It was taking them like I couldn't get my Google My Business link, and like it was just taking too long for things.
Yeah.
Long story short, the company righted the wrong, gave me like 3 months for free, optimized my SEO, told us we really want to show you what our company can do for you at a higher level. I still didn't see any difference by the end of the year. I know SEO takes some time, but SEO is also kind of dead if you talk to a lot of marketers.
Yeah.
And at the end of the year, I was happy to sever ties with them. I rerouted that money more into the community advertising area, like local magazines that people are picking up because that's their family on the front page. They want to read about, whose kids went to college and who's the pet of the month and who is this, and who is that. And I, like you, I was like, I'm going to just grind into the community a little bit more. And that just started making much more sense in my head. So for people that are new and like opening businesses, like if you have the money to pay marketing, that's great. But if you don't, I've always listened to people that, listen to the people that have done it better than you. Dan Fleischman is a very wealthy individual, and he'll tell you, all right, you don't have money? Google is free. Yelp is free. To an extent, it's free. Instagram is free. Facebook is free. TikTok is free. Like you have all these avenues you could be cashing in on. Bridal shows you pay for, but like if if you pay, I think I paid $1,500 for my bridal show I did. I'm not sure what you paid, but if you get 1 or 2 patients out of that that are going to be good recruitments, good retained conversion, it paid for itself. And now you have 2 or 3 more beautiful clients that you're working with.
Yep, absolutely.
How did you feel about the bridal show? Because I saw your booth. It was cute.
I know. It was our first one, so I kind of felt like a little bit out of a fish out of water. 3 years ago, I used to like go to all these fairs. Like I had like 20 followers on Instagram, right? So you got to start somewhere. And then I took a break from them. And so getting back into them, I think it's great because now I'm showing like my team the work that went into going to where we were. I looked at my injector and, it was her first one. So she kind of felt like she didn't know what she was doing, but it was really good for her to make those connections and see the work that goes into building your clientele. And I think another thing that to be mentioned as far as like Google reviews and Instagram and all the things, when we're in our bubble, in our aesthetic bubble with each other and at these conferences, we all speak the same language, but you have to remember that the community has no idea what you're talking about. Botox could be filler, Botox could be Juvederm. And so making those connections so that they're not afraid to ask you those questions. Because, I just did a story today about, it's just intimidating or I don't want to go in there because I don't know what I want. So you just need to make those interpersonal connections with people in your community so that they are coming in and they are asking you questions and you're figuring out what they're looking for and what's important to them. And then there's that whole saying that like the person in your chair is worth more than the person you haven't met yet. So really, again, honing in on your community, honing into the people that have already come into your clinic and focusing less on what it can do for me and my revenue and my bottom line and focusing more on how can I help the community. I think when you get into a space where you're thinking of others and how you can help versus your bottom line, what you're trying to get across is just so much more authentic and genuine than, paying people to do it for you.
Yeah. I felt very empty in a lot of that involvement and I never really felt satisfied with it. I was kind of like, I think as a new business owner, you really don't know what the right answer is. But everybody I talk to, the more I've been grinding and leaning into being a business owner, you ask almost anybody, where do your best leads come from? And 90% of the time, 95% of the time, people are like word of mouth. It's word of mouth.
Mine is Google. I get so many people from Google. And what I could tell you, is my iPad is starting to die. Don't kill me.
You didn't plug it in. Brandon's going to have
We're good. We're so good. But what I will tell you is by attaching that to like an after clinic survey after they come in and sending that out, so many people know that that's how they, we don't accept tips in the aesthetic industry, but that's the best way to tip is either word of mouth or writing a Google review. And I can't tell you how many people are like, I came in because you have the most Google reviews and they're all 5-star.
Google reviews are huge. And something I've been leaning into a lot more is automation. Like you said, like that email goes out, the pre and post Botox instructions go out, and it's, there's another company that has a system right now that they sell that can be integrated into other systems. My system does it, so I really didn't need it. But it's that automation, like that you're constantly reaching out to. The girl that gave the talk on the podcast I listened to, she was like, stop saying you need more leads. You don't need more leads. Nurture the ones that you have. If you have 100 patients in your book, nurture those leads. And I'm not saying like, not every patient in your book is like a great lead, right? Like some of them are never going to convert. They're never going to do this. They come there once a year because they want a little bit of tox right here. And that's all they want. They don't want skincare. You're not going to sell it. Like there's just some people that are not into it and it's not their thing, right? They, for whatever reason they do it, they want their little treatment or they want their facial once a year, or they want to just do something for themselves, but they're never going to change. Or you ended up with a bargain shopper, or like something's happened where you have like maybe a handful of patients that are just they're not great patients. In the sense that they're not really on the aesthetic, like it's their aesthetic journey, not ours. Right. So like their journey is what they want. If they want to come every 6 months and get the 11 lines done, yes, of course, talk to them about skincare, SPF, this, that, whatever you have. if they don't convert, they don't convert, but you should always be making some kind of contact with them to try to convert them over.
Yeah.
And that was the big thing with the automated emails is I realized like, I'm not even doing this.
Right.
Like, I don't have something that follows up with them in 2 weeks and says, hey, we hope you're loving your lip filler. If there's anything that you need or adjustments that you need made, or like, if you want to come in and be seen because you have questions, please feel free to reach out.
Yeah.
I think we as providers were different aesthetic patients probably. We were like, oh no, we'll be back. Oh no, go ahead and put $500 of Botox in my face. Do it for me now.
Yeah.
That I paid for my Botox on Care Credit all the time, every 3 months. Guess what? Swipe that card. I'm happy to pay the $500 or $600 for my Botox.
Well, not only that, they make it so easy now. I mean, if you want to like just pivot to financing, Cherry Financing, I feel like has taken over the aesthetic space, and Alley has even integrated Cherry Financing into their program. Alley is a loyalty program through the company that makes Botox and Juvederm, but they've just made it easy developing packages. So, you know, because affordability is a big problem with patients. So yeah, again, it's like figuring out what is your community's, what's holding them back, and figuring out a way to help them fix it so that they can get what they want and feel good about it.
Yeah. And I shouldn't say like these, and I don't mean that in like a negative way, like these are not great patients, because that's not what I mean.
Yeah.
They're not the patients that are going to change over and do anything different, because maybe going on vacation is more important to them than having their skincare. Or they're happy with the oil of Olay that they've been using since 1925, or whenever they've been using it. And that, you know, like some people are just very set in their ways.
Yeah.
And
if it's working for them, great.
Yeah. And again, like it's their journey, but like their priorities lie elsewhere. And their priority lies in going on vacation or having a nicer car, or they want to go eat a $200 dinner, you know, every other night. Like people spend money on things. That's just what they prioritize as the important.
I'm going to move you for a minute.
She's got to plug me in now because
I'm always dying. And don't tell
Ashleigh.
Don't tell DC Ashleigh this is happening.
DC Brandon. Well, I'm like, Brandon will know, DC will know, everybody will know.
Everyone's gonna know.
It just is what it is.
When I first met Ashley Carmen, she sent me, I didn't even know her. I had not even met her in person yet.
A charger?
Yes. She sent me a phone charger because we would be talking and my phone would die all the time. And so it was just like, it's always the cutest story because she just thinks of us all so deeply like that and sends us things because she's just so gifted in giving gifts. Yes. Yeah.
She was somewhere and found these little teacups with bees on them. And everybody knows that I have these honeybees that are just like I feel bad for them. They're like my abused children. Cause I don't mess with them too much. I'm a hobbyist beekeeper. I have 2 max hives. Like I can barely take care of 2 hives. It's terrible. But I love when I can take some honey from them. I don't take much from them at all. The one year I took they were just it was a bountiful year for the bees. And I took I forget how many frames of honey from them, but they had enough for the winter. I always make sure they have food for the winter time, but I had 12 pints of honey.
Oh my gosh.
I will tell you, honey is expensive for a reason, because it is if you're a solo beekeeper like I am, like a solo injector, it is in the ass to scrape honeycomb. I don't have a spinner. Like usually I have a centrifuge and it spins. It's either electric or you can hand crank it, and the honey just and then it drains out. But I hand scrape it all off and strain it and clean it and strain it. So mine usually has sediment in it. I'm not winning any awards for it, but it doesn't go bad. It's
see all of our little hidden lives in the gang. I make sourdough. You harvest honey. We have, what else do we have? Everyone else does fun little secret
Brandy's running charities. It's insane.
It is.
Yeah, it's our lives. It's what we do. We can't, I think I told you or somebody else the other day, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to get involved with this children's charity in St. Pete because it feels like the right thing to do. I love helping kids. And then I'm also going to host this event and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't know when I'm going to do all of this, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It's like, when are you trying to do this charity event? I was like, I don't know, April sounds good. And he's like, April, of this year, Valerie? And I was like, we'll figure it out. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, that's soon.
Not
but
sure.
Yeah, again, back to being in the community. We volunteer with a local, the YWCA that helps, abused women and children. Giving back when we're in this industry is just, I think it's one of the blessings that we have. just the freedom of owning, even like being here today. It's 1:00 in the afternoon here, and I'm going skiing with my kids in a few hours. But it's like
I love that.
building a business so that you can give back and then also feed like your family and spend time with them. So there's just so much great that comes from this industry. And I think sometimes we get and I'm probably going off track and off topic, but I think aesthetics can get such a bad rap sometimes, like with people, and just the cost, back to the cost of things. They're very expensive, and people think we're just living the life because things are so expensive. But running an aesthetic business is very expensive. I mean, besides the products, the insurances, stocking the shelves, stocking the fridge, all of these things. If we chatted about the cost of them, your jaw would be on the floor. So
yeah, I think what people don't realize is that, at 12 or 14, so $12 a unit for Botox, as where I'm at as a small account, because I don't get any special kickbacks or anything.
Right.
I don't order enough product. At $12 a unit, I don't make any money.
Right.
No revenue on that whatsoever for me.
I just had to raise my Botox to 13.
Yeah.
And I don't love it, but it's just...
But it is, the conversation with the patient goes as this. They have the most on-label uses. There's a cost for studies, unfortunately, that you have to pay for. If you want to know your product lasts 5 years, well, they have to study it for 5 years. Most of them don't. They study at a 2-year end mark, maybe a year. And if you don't have that data, you can't really back that product for what you want to. So it is the Mercedes-Benz of toxin. And you can have a Mercedes-Benz or you can have a Honda. The cars both run. Yeah. They both do the job. Yeah. One has more indications. One has more bells, whistles, whatever. And the other one doesn't. You still get a car at the end of the day. It's just which car do you want? And
then what mechanic is going to service the car? Because...
how much are the repairs for the car? I'm just kidding.
Well, just like, I was kind of talking about like the injector, like who's injecting it too. And how much are they brand new, or have they had years of experience and they're going to all of these people to be the best at their trade? That these conferences are $5,000 a pop. These private trainings are easily $5,000 a pop. And so, Botox sounds really easy to just inject. I think it's just, but you and I have always bonded over the corrugator tail. And for those of you that don't know what that is, it is the tail of your corrugator muscle above your medial eyebrow. And there is a depth issue with it that can cause atosis, it can cause a drooping. Yes, it can cause all these problems. And so Valerie, we call her Valerie sometimes, but Valerie and I have always just... we'll watch these injection videos and send them to each other. Like, what is this injector doing? That patient's going to have a dropped brow. Like, we freak out.
They never do either, but we're super paranoid about it.
See, we don't know. But it is that care that Valerie and I have and the knowledge of the anatomy that we know where to be cautious and what could cause a bad treatment and make someone never want to see you again. So
what's even better is, despite knowing the anatomy and knowing exactly what we need to do every single time we do it, every time I treat a tail of a corrugator, it doesn't matter. I'm just like, God, this is going to be a good job. Which, by the way, good point, because I'm always really bothered by this. Like, a true Spock brow, just so everybody knows, is when you miss the corrugator and you hit the frontalis, because we never want to come below that line of convergence, right? Yeah. So you miss the corrugator, you go deep and hit the frontalis muscle, and your medial portion of your frontalis drops down, and your tail literally kicks up because you treated the orbicularis oculi. It's not whether you're moving or not. Like, when people move and they're pulling laterally, then you just need to cap that with tox. That's not like the true definition of a Spock brow is medial frontalis ptosis and unopposed, which is a Spock. And you literally are just like sitting like this. You don't have to raise your brow. You don't have to do anything. You literally just have a Spocked brow, and it doesn't go away until that wears off and you reposition the eyebrow. I see people all the time where they're just like, they move and they pull a little bit and they just have like a little lift. I'm like, that's not your Spock brow, just so everybody knows.
I think my new corrugator tail, and I have done that in my early days. I've totally done that to people. And I look back at photos from like 2020 or 2019. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to like call them and be like, I am so sorry. But I don't do that anymore. But I feel like my new corrugator tail is the DAO. I'm just like, every time I hit the DAO, I look back, I'm like, okay.
Is it going to be your DLI that
And
I'm
it always
actually
isn't
hitting?
perfect, but I'm just like, it's my new, like, just my second thought. Yep.
You can
I'm
see
just
mine perfectly right now. All my tox is worn off. I just treated today. I like locked the office door and I was like, I'm not taking a paycheck from this company. And people are always like, oh, it must just be nice to treat yourself for free. I'm like, I paid for that, number one.
Yep.
And I am not taking a salary from this company right now.
Yes.
If I get 100 units of Botox, that's the best thing I could give myself every 4 months.
100%. But injecting yourself is a talent in its own. I haven't done it in a long time, but back when I was a solo provider, you get desperate and you have to. And I would always tell my husband, I'm like, this could go really good or this could go really bad. Like this is a bad look if I mess up my own talk.
100% have done my own masseters, knocked out my rise doors.
Oh, no.
Not because I went too anterior, but I sat at home like this because your muscle hurts afterwards.
Yeah.
Rubbing my muscle, I probably just pushed it forward.
Oh,
I've
no.
hit my DLI before and I was like, sorry,
better
guys.
us than our patients, but yeah.
But
I know. I always tell them, I'm like, your hands away from your face today. Like none of this. None of this.
As I'm sitting here just like rubbing my face. But Angela and I, the one time we did our neck bands, our DAOs, and our Mentalis, and now I've been coming, the Nefertiti lift is also something that's not new, everyone, by the way. If you go back in magazines and journals from 5,000 years ago, they've been doing this lift for a while now. But I think when you couple like Platysma, the Mentalis, the DAOs, I'm like, I can't, I have no strength in my lower face. All right, guys, sourdough recipe will be posted in the comments below. Ashleigh, tell them how to find you.
You can reach me on Instagram at _LCV_beauty, or just Google Google LCV Beauty and you'll see our website online.
Just out in beautiful Idaho, guys. If you're ever out there, take a tour through the area. Absolutely love it. I drove all over the state during this trip. I love being outdoors and having the outside available. You can eat at the lovely restaurants there. You can check out the LCV Beauty Wellness Lounge. Plenty to do. If you have functional med questions, you can email any of us. We probably don't know the answers to it yet, but we'll help you find the way.
Yeah.
I am Spindrift_aesthetics on Instagram or Injector_Valerie. The Aesthetics Injector Gang at Gmail is how you can find us to ask us questions via email. And we will wrap it up. We'll have another session soon. Okay.
Yes, I would love it. Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Love you. Bye.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please share, and comment. Follow us on Instagram at The Aesthetics Injector Gang.